Body Academy. Oh, I was hoping you guys can get a glimpse of this beautiful view here. I think the light might be washing it out. There we go. Coming to you live on the Caribbean coast. This is the Caribbean coast of Mexico. How wonderful. Oh, so funny. It might help if I had my microphone on. Hey? Okay, is that better, Beverly? You guys can hear me now? I just want to give you guys, how do I do this? It's opposite. There we go. Check out this amazing, beautiful ocean behind me. Oh my gosh. Mama Cocha, saltwater air, saltwater seas. Oh, absolutely amazing. I'm so blessed to be in this paradise right now. And this is kind of a vacation, not really, but sort of. So what happens is that I work really hard for a few days and, doing a lot of, the work that I do, and then little nuggets of goodness like this drop into my lap. So I'm taking this as the universe, Pachamama, telling me, job well done, job well done. Been working very hard. There's been a lot of dark forces coming up, and I mean that more than just the stuff that we're doing in our training. It's like on a planetary level, there's a lot of dark forces coming up. You might wonder what I mean by dark forces. It doesn't always mean demonic stuff, though it could. What's happening is that the polarities of this reality, all the nesting dolls are shifting. And in the shifting, it's bringing to light other layers. And, we've been incepted for a long time in the consciousness here. And of course, there's a lot of crap on those other layers that are coming up. And in some ways, it feels like a lot of work. But when we come into right relationship within ourselves, within our relationships with others, there's a wonderful flow, like a fish through water, that's possible. We can swim through these challenges like a fish through water. And it's a good analogy because nothing is solid anymore. Because these paradigms are shifting so quickly, and they're shifting in ways that people never imagined possible. There are no solid realities anymore. And I'm seeing this reflected to me over and over and over again, especially being here. And where I'm at, this is a really potent masculine energy vortex, very dominantly masculine. And it reflects in the kind of people that come here and the kind of culture and stuff like that. But the powers that be, the ones that have been in charge, the structures here for a long time, have experienced a major cracking in ways that they never foresaw or imagined possible. And I'm taking this also, this is like a micro example of what's happening on a global scale. There was this idea of what reality is about, and now it's all getting turned on its head. Reality is not as solid as they thought that it was. Systems that were in place that seemed unshakable are definitely shaking, So I want to talk about this. I want to talk about, how to navigate. So kind of a continuation of what I've been doing the past few weeks. But I also want to talk about the, that divine connections, the divine connections that we have with other people. It could be masculine and feminine, but it also could be sisterhoods, brotherhoods, this kind of thing. And I'm starting to come into a deeper appreciation of, how my energy works. It's like how it used to work has been turned around and then amplified 1,000 times. Oh, sorry, I didn't do my usual introduction. Hey guys. Yeah, see, I'm just in a completely different plane right now. on the beach, enjoying the water and the company and all this stuff. So let me get back to the whole reason why we're here. Why are we here for the chats? This chats is meant to be a support for Starseeds, Wayshowers, New Paradigm Visionaries, so I can offer a liberated perspective to these challenges that we're facing in this time of change and chaos. And if there's something really weighing on your mind that you'd like maybe me to include in this conversation, definitely put it in the chats. Let me know. Hello, Beverly. Thank you. And hi, Tony. Thank you for that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's start on that note. The deserving, what that means, and who decides, and and how this translates into our relationships, and in relationship to the truth. So over the past couple weeks, I've been getting a lot of calls to work with people who are working through something that seems like an invisible block. It's like things are rocking and rolling, and they're going for their visions, but for some reason, really anchoring it into this reality, there's some kind of block. It's like they're aware there's a block, but they can't see the block, can't put their finger on the block, and there's something going on with that. And what I'm realizing more and more as I track into the individual pieces of the folks coming coming to me to unravel this stuff, that humanity, the value systems that we've built for many people, that we've built our lives on, built our relationships on, are changing. And they're changing for lots of reasons. A lot of it is that, we're waking up to who we really are and what true authenticity is, right? There's that level of change. But there's also it's like how we interact, how we engage, that's really important. And the missing piece for a lot of these folks, and I'm going to say the microcosm here as well, is the power of truth. It's not just the power of knowing truth, it's the power of speaking it. Okay. Now, what I've learned about my energy is that, I don't try to be, but I'm just a lightning rod. If there's BS going anywhere around, it's like just, me opening my mouth triggers, really highlights it. And if you are in the relationship of really appreciating the truth, wait a minute, I'll pause there. Are we back? Let me know if we're back. It looks like okay, there we go. The signal just went down, took a dip, and now it's back. Is it back now? Energies, wanting to hear truth and not wanting to hear truth, right? Okay, you guys let me know. Beverly, definitely let me know. I don't have my phone around me, so you'll have to put it in the chats. Or maybe I can go grab my phone. Let me do that. Sorry, a little intermission to speaking truth here. Let me get here. All right. Okay, I have my phone. So if there's, okay, I'm here. Thank you. Ooh, okay. So speaking of truth, and the truth is an interesting energy. Well, that's the one thing we have to realize. It's an energy. Truth is what galvanizes, and it also is what cuts things away, So when we're in our truth and we're in harmony or at peace with whatever that is, it's something that is very harmonizing, and it's something that a collective can galvanize themselves around. But if there's a false reality that everybody is agreeing that it's the truth, then it's just chaos. It's like this constant backlash. It's this constant shift. People don't feel at ease, And it could be that people aren't at ease with truth as well, but that's just because they're so used to or have accepted this false reality for so long it's like there's a cognitive dissonance to realize that it's actually not real. It's like, it's like our financial systems. It's like we're so convinced that it's hard and unchangeable, but it's not. It's very fragile. It's very fragile. Hence the threat that different, digital currencies and philosophies like that pose to the old system. So, we are coming into these energies where the truth is a backbone to navigating with grace and ease. It's really a backbone to how to navigate these frequencies with grace and ease. Okay, thank you, Tony. So, yeah, there's a lot of interesting things. All right, for example, this is a vortex, very heavy, very strong masculine energy, right? And my energy is kind of like a lightning rod, and I don't intend it to be. I can just sit in silence in a group, and the energy is still affecting people. I don't. It's not something that I'm pushy about or anything like that. I am definitely solid with. So if someone's in my close personal space, that's definitely something that has to get and be brought into right relationship. But in general, when I'm with a group of people, I'm very chill. And this lightning rod energy that I have just like reveals the BS or reveals what's incongruent, this kind of thing. So fast forward, you bring my energy to this vortex, this amazing vortex of really super dominated masculine consciousness. And it's like every conversation that I have, especially with a man with a masculine quality, it's like zzz, zzz, zzz. It's like I can see things very clearly, and the person I'm speaking with gets struck by that, like, whoa, something's not happening the way that it usually does. It's like, oh, normally I feel completely confident in this way, and for some reason when they're around me they might not. Unless they have an excellent relationship with the truth inside themselves, then they feel even more confident, even more intuitive, even more empowered, So for a while, I was feeling like, what's going on here? What's happening with all these men around here? And but then I started seeing these juxtapositions, the ones that come into my field that are in congruency with the truth or have a true desire to be in right relationship with feminine force. It's like they all of a sudden are uplifted and glowing and really powerful, and they're being in their masculinity feels really good, and it's like I can see it rise in them, and they're no pun intended with that, but I could just see that, and it's like okay, so it does exist, and this is showing me an evolution in the consciousness of the feminine and masculine qualities. And it's also showing me how, how women very easily get lost in the dance with relationships. And that's why men and women can be, often are, very toxic in relationship to each other. And it's because the relationship to the truth is not congruent. They're both living in a false reality. And that false reality, we can call ego driver stuff, trying to feel like they have a leg up, or feeling like they have power over, or feeling like they have something important, or, whatever the need is, right? And, I've gone through such a crazy transformation that, it's fascinating. It's really fascinating, because the people that are coming into my field, the women, are really very powerful. And then slowly but surely is a trickling in of these men who are also very powerful. And the ones that are, not so much, it's like when they're in my field or going out to dinner, say, so I do these, I go out to dinner with these groups, and it's like the women are heavily masculine. They, it's that comes out, and then the men that are being called to be super masculine, but maybe aren't comfortable in that gets called out. It's like this interesting dance, and there's a cracking open happen if you can allow it to happen. once it happens, it's like a liberation. And the level of empowerment that both men or women, they feel is really quite spectacular. It's extraordinary. But we're, the old paradigm is still hanging on to a lot of these people. And I know it might sound weird for me to talk about it like it's a source outside of them, but it kind of is, because it's a collective reality. It's a collective false reality. It's a grid that's held in place. And if you have a resonance with any of the distortions within that grid, all of a sudden that's amping up the distortion inside of you. And that's something really important to keep in mind when you go places. The energy of places is very different. And the consciousness grids of these different places are going to resonate within you. And that's why some people feel really at home some places and really not at home in other places, I have to say that the last time I was here in Tulum, it really felt like home. But I also realized that I was like inundated, surrounded by really good quality masculine frequencies, it was kind of like, it was like a default. It was just there. And I come back and it's not so much the case. It's like, it's taken time for these people to come to circle into my sphere. So it's an inside game, absolutely, but it's important to pay close attention to what's happening on the outside. This chaos is very difficult to navigate if we stay in the false reality. The more truth that we embrace, even if it's scathing, the scathingness is very short. It's not as long as it used to be. And then we all of a sudden feel free. We feel liberated. Okay? And this is, I'm finding it very fascinating because I'm here in paradise, and you would think this is just full of people enjoying life, and which there's people here enjoying life, but there's also a lot of people here that are trying to enjoy life, but they're in an illusion. They're in an illusion, and that could be business-wise, that can be relationship-wise. There's lots of pieces to this. And it's actually very challenging to come in right relationship with the masculine and feminine energies here because the current is so strong. So this is where it takes me back to the frequency of truth. If truth is not being spoken and it needs to be spoken, that's going to create a block within our own flow. And I actually woke up to another layer of this very recently. So it was in relationship to a masculine energy that was very toxic. And my choice was just be like, oh yeah, no, not playing that game. I'm done. I'm out. See ya. I'm done. But at the same time, the energy was still lingering. So I'm just, going about my world, and I'm starting to feel like this block. And I'm thinking, what's going on with this block? And the whole piece to it, and I didn't realize it till very recently, is that I needed to speak my truth out loud. And of course, the dear sister Starshine kind of helped me realize that, because I was working with her cleaning up stuff, and some stuff came to light. And I realized, I've never spoken my truth about this. I never spoke my perception of what this is. I just acknowledged it inside and moved on. So I finally decided to do that. And it was really shocking because I was surprised on how my body was reacting to that. It was like, it was a really deeply anchored thing inside of me that was keeping me from speaking my true thoughts and feelings about something, So I finally did. And I'm telling you, that block went done, it completely went away. And it's something so simple. But these nesting dolls, these fields are open and flowing, and there's a lot more energy flowing than we realize. So if any part of us is out of integrity with the frequency of truth, we're going to notice a holding. We're going to notice a block. And it was really like the last Starshine that I worked with that really flushed this out in a community perspective for me. So we have all these communities here. This is the Caribbean coast, but further inland, there are these off-grid communities that are building, but they go so far and then they stop. These off-grid communities go so far and then they stop. And of course, there's the interdimensional interference and all that stuff. This is true. But at the same time, if everybody involved in those projects had the ability, the freedom, the presence to speak their truth in the moment that they're having it, with their community, without fear of repercussion, without fear of what it's going to do, or without judgment of, oh, that's not all love and light, what I have to say. You know what I mean? If they could just really be free inside of themselves and say things out loud, these interdimensional forces that interfere with these off-grid communities, with these visionary communities, it wouldn't have the power that it has. The reason why it gets, the reason why a lot of this power, this falseness stays in place is because people are still in that learning curve of how to be in the truth. Now, there's phases to being in your truth, okay? And it's not who you think you are truth either. So that adds to the complication, because a lot of people are growing up thinking thoughts and conditionings that are the opposite of their truth, right? So first, know thyself. We have to really get clear on what is a truth inside of me versus an ego driver perception that I think is inside of me, that I think is real, right? So there's that thing. But then once you open up to that, then there's a matter of how do you relate to the outer world with this authenticity, with this truth? Especially when, and I think you guys might relate to this, is that when you're in a community or you're with people that don't want to know the truth, or where there's a silent agreement not to speak the truth, right? Then it gets tricky. Like, how do you navigate with this? And I think this is what people are discovering, and why there's such a rearrangement of locale for people right now. People are moving cross country. People are moving to other countries. There's all of this relocation ship happening right now. And I think this is connected into this inner rearrangement. People are being magnetized to environments that are closer in alignment with their truth, whether they know what that truth is or not. It's like they're getting magnetized to these places, to these different communities, to these different relationships. They're getting magnetized to it. And it's fascinating because of this magnetism that's going on, I feel so hopeful for humanity, because this magnetism is like a force of nature. The rain comes, the rain comes. The tide comes in, the tide comes in. It's a force of nature. It's going to do what it does without any effort from humans, right? I mean, yeah, we can influence the weather, but in general, ecosystems are ecosystems. They're going to do what they do. We don't need to put any energy into it necessarily. It's going to take place whether we like it or not. So this magnetism that takes us to these places is exactly where we need to be for us to recognize these different truths inside. Now, if we're chaotic, if we're really chaotic inside and we don't know our truth, or we really believe we are who we think we are, we might get magnetized to these places, but it's turmoil, it's chaos, it's pain, it's a wounding journey, right? Versus when we are softening inside and saying, okay, I'm committed to feeling what is the truth, we get magnetized to these places and it actually blossoms. It helps us settle in to our authentic nature more. And, I know I'm on a healing journey right now, and I feel like I'm getting magnetized to these places. And though it's uncomfortable at times, because I keep bringing it back to what's inside, it's giving me an extra oomph to heal things, heal woundings, heal traumas, stuff like this, Those of you that know me, you guys know that, I've really been nursing a broken heart, really. How do you heal a broken heart? It's not just time. Because a lot of times, people will get their heart broken and then have a miserable period and then get hard, have scar tissue and be hard inside from the experience of brokenheartedness. And I'm committed to the opposite of that. It's like, I realize that a broken heart, as painful as it is and unpleasant, it's an opportunity to open your heart more. It's an opportunity to go even deeper inside of the truth of who I am. It's like it's cracking me open. And I want to keep that cracking open, 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 so I can let this other level of my being come forward and get to know that aspect. And that's kind of the opposite of how humans have been dealing with it, but it's really what needs to happen. I know I'm kind of bouncing around here. I'm tying it all together. It's all coming together, I promise. So we get magnetized to these places. Sometimes we're kicking and screaming. Sometimes we have this subtle sense that this is exactly where I need to be. I don't understand why, but here I am, And it's like the earth, the Pachamama, Mother Nature, is pulling us to our true nature for us to see, to feel, to know, to become more of who we are, more of the truth of who we are, not who we have been in these false constructs, not who we have been in this delusion. This morning there's a lot of talk about the financial system. So COVID happened, and this is a beautiful, beautiful beach lined with beach hotels. And COVID happened, and that actually caused a really huge problem for many of these hotel owners. And I was asked to come sit in this meeting talking about, the state of things and where things are going and, stuff like this. Really interesting that I was there, getting to know these folks and just listening to the process of what's going on. And there's a businessman there who he had such clarity about what was happening. And he felt like a really integral masculine presence. He really did. I don't know why I was surprised by that. I think I was surprised that it was so clear for just meeting somebody. It was like so crystal clear. And what happened is that, there's a lot of turmoil that's gone through this coast. And a lot of the hotels have suffered greatly, and they're not operating at anywhere near that they used to. And there's like a panic starting to happen. And what's also really interesting is that this was mostly women at this meeting. And the women are talking about exploring alternate financial systems to rally the human spirit towards a new cause, which I found fascinating, because I feel like this is the role of the female force, is being visionaries, being the we are naturally tapped into these levels, and we flow very usually if we're in harmony with our inner feminine force. We can flow very easily. And in this conversation, I'm just like, I'm just beside myself with wow. It's like we have this traditional business mind folks, and then we have these visionaries, and they absolutely are able to have common ground to collaborate, to bring new things forward. And that's the magic. That's where the magic is here in Tulum, is when you can get the visionary and the grounding forces together to dream up and anchor a new system of working, one that is in alignment with nature, one that is in alignment, in harmony with, that's a better way of saying it, in harmony with cosmic forces. Because true nature of Pachamama, the true nature of the cosmos, is not a parasitical nature like, how our systems have been, this inverted reality where people have to sell their souls in order to get a paycheck, right? I mean, I think you guys can relate. There's a lot of folks that find themselves in that predicament. Hence, a lot of the folks that, were extorted into doing the jibbity jab when they didn't want to. It's like they felt like they had to in order to support their family, or they had to in order to, have a place to live, or, to just make it in this world. So this new system that's getting introduced is based on it it values life force energy. It values creativity. It values production, but not in a soul sucking way. It's more like it values production created out of inspiration, and the collaboration in the community come together for a common vision, a common truth, a common value, and that just continues to feed itself. So there's no one person at the top or few people at the top in charge of everything. It's the grassroots at the bottom level that is in charge of everything. They are the ones who hold the values, and they are the ones that inspire the growth, inspire the creations. Isn't this an interesting idea? I thought it was, and I thought it was great that these guys, at this level are discussing this and looking at how to make it viable in the coming months. And there's another thing here is this particular hotel that I'm at. It's based on very high level of eco values, being ecologically observant, and do things that are, to be conscious of clean, everything being clean, and observing Mother Nature and being in alignment with that, not just dumping and trashing places. It's like, how do we leave this place better than it was? And it's interesting. There's right now turtles are laying their eggs. So, for example, one of the things here on this beach is the baby turtles get born and then they go off into the ocean. But when you have a beach full of people, they get lost in that, and things disturb. So they have like these little teepees, these little stick teepees over all these turtle nests. So for one, we know where they are, but for two, people will keep people away from them. And then people come out at night to watch them hatch and celebrate their, and they make sure that, there's consciousness about keeping the lights off. So the turtles go in the right direction into the sea. And there are these beautiful souls that stay up till late at night to witness the birth of these turtles. And of course, cheer them on to make them, for them to get to the ocean. I mean, it's really fascinating. The consciousness, the vision. And this was I'm going to say this was a man-woman couple that founded these places, and it was the woman's vision for this place being an eco-conscious resort, being, so the clean water, the all the systems here are ecologically conservative. I think the old language would be sustainable. The language now is sustainability is, 90s. Now it's like we need to get into regenerative behaviors. So this dance between masculine and feminine force, it's when they can come together, it's a synergy like really freaking amazing, really beautiful. But we have to get over, as a collective, we have to get over certain ideas and constructs that are just delusions. They're not real, True authenticity. The reason why we need authenticity coaches is because so much of humanity doesn't know who they are. They are tricked into investing and believing they are who they think they are versus who they really are inside, And it takes a conscious community to flush out who we really are inside. This is what I'm finding. It takes a conscious community to do that, because when you are around a bunch of lost people, it's very easy to feel yourself that you're lost. But if you are around people who have a high value on the truth, seeing the truth, knowing the truth, speaking the truth, sharing the truth with each other, then it's much easier. It's much, much easier to stand in your own authenticity, discover it, and then stand in it. And actually, that's that next piece. Let me check where I am on time. Oh my gosh. Okay. So that's the next piece actually that's important for us to realize as Starseeds. We're getting up leveled. We're getting up leveled in a lot of ways. But just because that up leveling happens, it doesn't mean you're going to stay there. You actually need to change your ways in order to maintain the up leveling. Okay. And I don't mean it's you have to constantly put a lot of energy, maintain. No, it's really changing your habits. So your habits are supportive of the up leveling that you just experienced. Maybe you have a bunch of downloads and you're integrating and you come to a new place. Now in that new place, your habits need to now support your frequency at that place. And what happens is that very often we have this up leveling, but there's all these old patterns in our life or in our environment. And then we go back to those old patterns and now we're struggling, right? Versus when we up level and then we change our habits to accommodate that up leveling experience, what we experience, that new version of us, then it's, it's graceful for a little while until the next time to up level comes, And I think this is what trips a lot of starseeds up right now, is that, the up levels, the downloads, integrations coming like this. And we have not yet acquired the habits that support the lifestyle we need to maintain ourselves at that level. It stresses our biosuit out. There's a detoxing that very often needs to accompany the up leveling. There's lots of processes that our biosuit needs support with in order to really embody whatever that up level has brought forward. Let me know if this is making sense, darling. All right. Oh, here's a couple comments here. So, hello, dear Tony. Tony says, yeah, that would be amazing to witness. Oh, you're talking about the turtles. Yeah, it is. It's so cool. And yes, I'm in Tulum. Yes, this is a very interesting place. I'll be heading out of Tulum for a little bit of time, and then I'll be back here. This is my residence now, so I'll be bouncing in and out as I usually do. Anyway, so we need to be careful about these up levelings in the sense that we, respect them, give them more respect than they need. Because it's not like, oh, I've been struck by lightning, now I'm this new human. It's like, yeah, you've been struck with lightning and now you're this new human. Now, how does your lifestyle change to be in support of this new humanness? And it's about that ripple effect. Okay. So say you live in you're in a toxic household, right? So you up leveled, but you're still in this toxic household. That up leveling is not going to integrate very, gracefully because of the surroundings that you're in. It's like your surroundings need to be in support with that up leveling that's happening. So up leveling very quickly does not necessarily mean it's going to be a graceful ride. And what I'm watching is that means it's going to be rocky. It's going to be a rocky road because people have shared stories where they just wake up one day and they realize they have to change everything about their life. They need to say goodbye to their family. They need to say goodbye to their relationship. They need to say goodbye to, their job, their home, where they live. They realize they cannot maintain, they can't sustain the environment that they're in with the way that they're up leveling in their frequency. And it's so important to anchor these frequencies in our bodies because that is what changes this reality. That is when it becomes part of your authentic truth. It's not in your authentic truth until it's integrated. Once it's integrated, it's there, it's locked in. Okay. But until then, it's wibbly wobbly, right? It's trying to hold a puff of smoke. It's not often there. Here, let me get a drink of water real quick. I realized, I was going through a lot of upgrades, and because certain things I wasn't really seeing they need changed. Well, I knew they needed change, but I didn't know how to change them. Let's put it that way. I wasn't really able to do that. So my response to that was hermiting. I would hermit. And I'm a very good hermit. Very, very good hermit. And what I mean by hermiting is like you only really experience people when you absolutely need to. And that could be, getting your supplies in town. That could be, only when I really need to interact with humanity, I would. And that's something that started many years back. And I got very good at it. But there was a point in time where that wasn't good for me. I was hermiting too well. And it was it was the coping mechanism, the survival mechanism that I cultivated so I can maintain the upgrades that were going on, because there were a lot really strong. It was like I was waking up, I felt like I was waking up a different person, every other day, and it really came to light when I was in Tennessee. I don't know if you guys remember, for those of you who've been listening for a while, I was in Tennessee last summer. No, it was last summer, fall. And very easy place to hermit because it was in the middle of nowhere. There was hardly any human beings. I talked to the same 3 people every day. One of them became a good friend of mine who to this day, I really enjoy connecting with. And all the main people that I came in contact was those 3 people. And then I would go to the Amish market and I would talk to the Amish guy, the cashier, and maybe his grandfather, and got my fruits and vegetables, and I'd go home. And it was very easy to hermit that way. But then there came a time where that had to change. And I'm sharing this with you guys so you guys can understand where you are in your own process of the upgrading. Because we can't hermit forever, because that undermines the whole reason that we're experiencing these upgrades. That undermines the whole reason why our soul is even here in a body. To be that solitary, yogi in a cave or on the mountain, that's not the kind of support we need anymore. Yes, we still need those beings, and they're still there. Many of them are still there, but it's primarily the people who are living in the community with other people. You know what I mean? This is why we're here. We're here to magnetize and come into communities that are in right relationship with our authentic truth. Okay, and we can't do that being a hermit. We really need to make that effort to connect and cultivate those true authentic connections. And that could what do you call it? It could be romantic relationships. I mean, there's a whole spectrum here, but the theme here needs to be in harmony with our authentic truth. And the more we do that, the more powerful we become as a collective. And I think this is why those intentional communities are targeted the way they are, because once you get a collective of people who are on, the same value system, on a really strong, authentic resonance, it's, 100 people have the power of 10,000 people. The creative power of 10,000 people, of the ripple effect interdimensionally of 10,000 people. And the key factor there is the value system and standing in their truth of who they really are in community. It's so powerful, so powerful. And I feel like, this is why we're here. As starseeds, we're encoded the way we are because so we can grow this new light body, grow into this new frequency, and then find others that are frequency match to us, and once we find that match, then, we just keep building from there. But it's important not to withdraw and be a hermit, I mean, be a hermit when you need to, because sometimes we need to, but that's not a constant state. That's just, that's a moon cycle. It's temporary. It's just for us to maybe get the solitude, the quiet, the peace that we need. And then we come back out and engage with our outer community, those that are authentically aligned with our truth, our value system. Oh, Samantha, hello, darling. It's been quite a long time. Um, sorry, this comment came in. If you're the Samantha I'm thinking of, it's been quite a long time. Good to see you, darling. All right, Samantha says, makes so much sense. Very helpful. Wish the up levels magically remove the resistance to lifestyle changes and habits. I know. Well, this is where, again, being in community is very, very helpful. So I had a travel companion that, all right, so I left Tennessee and went to Alabama for a while, and not really a frequency match. I was quite literal. This is the joke. This is the running joke. All right. So I go from Tennessee to Alabama. In the place I was staying, I was quite literally staying on the coast, on the shore of the River Styx. For those of you guys who aren't familiar with the River Styx is the river that takes deceased souls into the underworld. And I was like, and it was spelled Styx, the River Styx. Oh my gosh, I was laughing about that. It's like, yeah, I'm at the, I'm ready to, I'm waiting to see the ferryman go by, taking souls to the underworld. Anyway, so that was an old heavy energy, and it wasn't really a frequency match. And of course, I did absolutely hermit there. But I had a friend. This is about the connection with friendships and support of that. So I had a friend say, "Hey, I'm going to Texas, something. Why don't you come out?" And so we talked, and we met up in Livingston, and then we just traveled together because we weren't in the right place yet. We weren't in a frequency match yet, and lo and behold, we had a very interesting frequency match in that at the time I was in a much more stricter healing diet at the time. And it was part of healing diets is that you cut out refined foods. So it's mainly fresh fruits and vegetables. In my case, no fruits either. It was just fresh vegetables. And that means no grains, no sugar, not even honey, no red peppers, no carrots. I mean, it was like very, 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 very strict. And I maintained that for quite some time. But this travel companion had a similar value in their diet. So it was so amazing to travel with them because we stayed away from all the same things. And we had a value system of fresh fruits and vegetables, like fresh foods, and really clean eating. And it made it so much easier to travel with this, maintaining this healing diet. And it was such a relief to like walk through a grocery store, and we would avoid the same aisles, like the bread aisle, the sugar aisle, the cereal aisle, that stuff. And you know what I mean? It just made it so nice to have a companion in that dynamic. And this is what I mean. It's like there was value systems that overlapped, and it made it so easy to maintain those values. So this is what we do for each other in community. Imagine if you had a community that had the same values about truth, about living well, about, being in relationship to the earth, about, the importance of harmony in your environment, whether it be EMF harmony or something else. Imagine what it would be like to be surrounded by a group of people that were completely on the same page as you. Okay. No, I'm not saying be a Nazi, but I'm just saying when we're in a group of people, there's a harmonic that gets hit, and it's very easy to live the lifestyles that feed our soul, that feed our wellness, that support our leveling up, that supports those upgrades. In a lot of ways, because we're in company with each other in the way that we are, we start to upgrade each other. Like maybe this person over here upgraded their, upgraded their Arcturian DNA really well because something about their system allowed for that. And maybe, you over here, you're getting super activated on a galactic level, and you've integrated that. But maybe you are challenged with this one over here. So now you guys are in a harmonic environment. And what one starseed integrated really well is subconsciously informing your body, your system through sympathetic resonance and through entrainment Now your system gets informed on how to hold a frequency to integrate those upgrades. So it's a synergistic system when people are in their truth, when we're in community together. And this is this is our true nature as humans. We're meant to be connected. We're meant to be or feel and be aware of our connection with everything. So I'm looking at this ocean here. This ocean is a part of me. These trees, these coconuts, that they're all a part of me. And when those veils are lifted and we can see the true connection and how it's all one, not just as an individual, but as a collective, it's like now we are working with the magical forces of the elemental realm, and they are all coming together, and we are all super sensitive to each other. And the slightest little movement this way, or the slightest thought or dream going that way, the entire system shifts with that thought, shifts with that feeling, shifts with that vision. That's the true magic. And this is, in this way, how the indigenous talk about humans are meant to be the caretakers of this reality. It's with all of our being that we're the caretakers. We're not just, chopping wood and carrying water. It's beyond that. It's being one with each other, being one with the elements, and creating. And I'm not talking about manifesting. Manifesting is something, bringing something from the outside. We are creating. It's coming from inside of us. And it's influencing the elemental realms and everything around us via ripple effect. And then, so it comes out, it rises within, it comes out, and then it comes back to us like this. And this is how humanity are truly the caretakers of this reality. This is where we are truly dreaming this reality into being. It's coming from deep inside of our spirit. It's coming from deep inside of us. It's not an ego driver concept that says, oh, it would feel really good if I made this much money and had this kind of status and, lived in this kind of house. That's ego driver stuff. Spirit is interested in the whole. Your spirit is incarnating here in a body, not just for the individuation experience, but to have an impact within the whole. This is why we're here. This is where we find our purpose. And I don't mean like a heavy purpose. I'm talking about purpose and the joy of our creativity. We are a part of a whole. And this is what humanity's coming back to. This is why we're getting magnetized to all these different places, so we can heal and strip away that false reality, those masks, strip away those masks, and we can be our true, authentic nature, which is, that sacred child of earth and star. You see? Imagine if you woke up every day feeling like a sacred child of this reality, where everything in this reality is excited to see what you're going to bring forward from within you next. Okay? Imagine what it's like to live in a world like that. Our reality is like that. We just can't see it because of these overlays. And it's our job to decode these overlays and bring the truth forward, the real truth, the truth within ourselves, the truth within each other, the truth of what a real community can do for this reality. All right. Going back to think, is there any pieces that I left hanging? Any threads that I started opening that I didn't weave back in? Ah, yes, it has been well. Oh, this is the same Samantha. Okay, good. Lots of love to you, darling. I'm so glad to hear that you're well. It has been a long time. All right. You guys are feeling what I'm saying here. There's so much joy in being around humans when we're in respectful relationship of each other. Actually, this brings me to an event, and I'm not sure if I talked about this last time. Actually, I'm not sure if I talked about this. If I'm repeating myself, I apologize. I'm not really recalling what I've said over the past couple weeks. So there is a place, a sacred place that our dear brother, sister Sasquatch call people to come to. And it happens twice a year. And this past time was in the spring. And it's a community of people coming together to commune with these elemental beings called Sasquatch. Now, there are many elemental beings. There's the Fey realm, there's the Deva, there's all these layers to what the elemental realm is about. But the Sasquatch are particularly unique because they can phase in and out of this reality. They can hold a physical form if they choose, or be phased into more strongly in the elemental realm reality. And they're also, the elemental realm is ascending, and so are the Sasquatch. So there are certain density levels that they aren't able to reach anymore. And this is why they communicate a lot with sand painting, or I shouldn't say that, with glyphs. Like they arrange sticks and stones and shells, and they make these certain arrangements in nature to reach humans that are in a spectrum of the human reality that the Sasquatch aren't really able to like full on engage with. They a little bit engage because they're going through this ratcheting, the leveling up process like we are as humans. They are experiencing this too. And so we're at this gathering, and there's a lot of Fey activity, a lot of Sasquatch activity, but it wasn't really strong, overt Sasquatch activity. It was subtle. And, you know, this was a very special group of people. These people have been training, growing their psychic intuitive abilities over a period of time. So we're all very sensitive. And the Sasquatch showed me that they had a particular agenda this time around. And that was to bring us together as a collective, not just an individual, but as a collective, to be at a certain frequency, to lift our embodiment, our spirit, our ego driver, all the different layers of who we are, and lift us into a particular spectrum of frequency. And we got there on the 4th day. And it's so deceptively simple. But at the same time, I can see why it's so difficult to get humans to live and exist at this frequency. And that day started, for me, we all know each other, but then we were getting to know each other more. A lot of us have connections online and maybe haven't met in person, So there's those kinds of things. But I remember I was sitting in the camp chair, and I was in awe. There was a dear starshine that I was, who was new to me, and I was getting to know her. And I'm just in awe because she's just blowing me away with one amazing capability after another. And another starshine was sitting next to me. Actually, my travel companion that was traveling with me. And I just look at her and I'm like, girl, you're amazing. I mean, my heart was so open, and I was in awe of this woman. I'm just like, you are freaking amazing, And my friend next to me was like, he's like, I second that, We were in such awe. But then it wasn't just about that one person. We were coming into a place of really being in awe of each other for very different reasons and at different times, where we just pause and sit for a moment and be like, oh my gosh, you're an amazing human being. You're really, wow, right? And then, so this happens. We're at this place where we're in awe of each other for very different reasons, so appreciative of being there and in the company that we're in, really feeling like a tribe. And then we start exploring. A gentleman brought this, I can't remember the name of the device, but it translates frequencies from plants into music. And then you can engage the frequencies of these plants, and the music would change as we would engage with them. I can't remember the name of this device. It was invented, I think it was invented at Dom and Her in Italy, that alternative community in the mountains. Anyway, so we start exploring, like, what does it sound like when we talk to this plant? What does it sound like when we talk to this plant? And then we go into the cedar tree, and then then we started hooking it up to each other. And we were in this place of total glee, exploration, completely in a setting of love and acceptance for each other. And that's where the Sasquatch were like, this is it. This is where we want you to be as a collective. This is the frequency right here. This is where the magic happens. So it seems simple, but it's not so simple, because we are so deeply connected with everything around us and each other. We don't want to admit that. You know, a lot of people put shields and, you know, all kinds of barriers up because of the toxicities and this and that. You know, we don't feel safe doing that. But in this environment, we felt completely safe doing that. Even though we knew there was bears in the area, all that stuff, it didn't matter. We felt completely safe, completely held, and was able to connect with each other in such a beautiful, deep way. And it was easy. Nothing was forced. It was all play. Okay? It was all play. Ah, yes, plant wave. That's what it's called. Thank you, Jackie. Jackie was there. She's one of the people. And, you know, but this is what coming into community with the same values and in truth, this is what it does. It creates that space so we can just relax into our true nature and connect like that with each other. Hold that kind of space. And in that, engage with the elemental realm with such grace, beauty, ease. I had a massive shift of consciousness while I was there. I was standing on a patch of moss, and it has moss like this thick in this forest. And I'm looking, I just started, you know how you look without looking? I was looking without looking, and I started looking into the Fey realm, deeper, deeper, deeper. And when I realized the baseline for all life, all these life forms, the baseline was this current of love. It was like a liquid river of love light that is the baseline for everything that we see here, everything in this 3D world, everything that we see in nature, the trees, the rocks, the sand, the waters, the moss, the mushrooms, everything. And this was a really significant transmission for me. And then, of course, we're in this cocoon, this beautiful bubble, and then we leave and we go into normal human realm. And it was a stark contrast. When we were in the forest with in this frequency and this bandwidth of our true nature, in communion with the elemental realm and with magic and beauty and all this stuff, there was a certain pace, there was a certain rhythm that we were at. And it was very calming. Our whole system, you know, it was like relaxing. And then as we make our drive deeper, deeper back into the human realm, it's like all of a sudden this starts coming. And it's like we realized, oh my gosh, humanity as a whole is so stressed out. They're so stressed out, and they're living at a rhythm that's not natural to their bodies. It's not natural to them. It was so clear. The juxtaposition was amazing. So I hope this message is coming through. It's like, you know, it's actually very natural for us to be at these rhythms. It's very natural to be in our authentic truth. It's just we need to have that environment. We need to have the community that supports that. And then we'll be able to step into it more. And whether you're spiritual or not doesn't matter. All of humanity is getting magnetized in this direction. And like I made that observation at that meeting that I was in, that businessman, very business guy, but he had right relationship inside of him. He could see the truth when it was sitting right in front of him. He, not a spiritual guy. Well, he didn't seem spiritual, you know, like that was part of his language or anything like that. He was a very, you know, numbers and bottom line kind of guy. But yet he was able to recognize the truth. So spiritual practice, new age, starseed, doesn't matter. I mean, starseeds do matter in the sense that we are on the cutting edge of and digesting these encodements and integrating them. That matters. But as far as the whole of humanity coming into this next level, we're all getting pulled. We're all getting magnetized to where it is we need to be. Whether we realize it or not, doesn't matter. All that matters is that we can recognize, we can pull enough of those blinders away, we can recognize the truth when it's staring us in the face. Recognize the truth when it's, alive inside of us. That's what matters. Alrighty. Yep. Oh boy. Oh, sorry. Went over, guys. Sorry. This time went by so quickly. I hope this talk was helpful. Lots of love to you guys. I do want to encourage you to please, if you like the messages in these videos, do like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps with the algorithms. We don't do any marketing or paid anything around that. So, everything here is very organic. So if you want to support this channel, you want to support the work that we're doing as a collective, please, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel, and you'll get notified anytime we post things. Yeah, and that's it. Lots of love to you guys. Mwah. Until next time, make it a great week. Bye, guys.